Should Christians always be pacifists? That is completely non-violent at all times. Or is there such a thing as a just war? In other words, is there a type of violence that can be considered good and just and necessary? A little bit of background here. I started working on this topic maybe around 6 months ago after I saw a meme on social media, and I'll talk more about that in the next video once we properly get started on this. But to be honest, I found this to be a very uncomfortable topic. I felt nudged towards it on the one hand, but on the other hand, I didn't really want to because as I got into it, I just found it too unsettling and I decided to temporarily back away from it, put it down, and I thought maybe I'll come back to this at some point in the future. And the problem is this. When you're looking at the truth of a thing or for the truth of a thing, it's very important that as you do so, you kind of hold it up to the light and you consider it from every possible angle. You have to put aside your biases, your own personal preferences, what you hope is true, what you want to be true. And you have to be willing to ask, what is true? What's the reality of this thing? And that means considering all possibilities. It means asking questions you don't want to ask, considering things you don't want to consider. It means potentially coming across information that undercuts huge chunks of your pre-existing worldview. And that can be unsettling as it forces you to reevaluate and remold and reshape how you see the world. But that's how you get to the truth. If you're not willing to consider every possibility, and if you immediately discount the ideas that you find uncomfortable, then all you end up with is just confirmation bias. You just arrive at the result that you want to arrive at, which is really of no value at all. However, when I started doing all of that process with the just war question, I found the things I had to consider so uncomfortable and so unsettling on both sides of the debate that I just decided to put it down for a while. And the only reason I've come back to it now is because in recent videos, there's been quite a lot of discussion about this in the comments. Some Christians are quite clearly for pacifism, and some Christians are quite clearly for just war. And therefore, I think now's a time that we need to talk about it. So over the next 3 videos, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to present the ideas that I've formed about the subject so far from 6 months ago, from last year. The next video will be the argument as I see it for just war. The one after that will be the argument again as I see it for pacifism. And then the one after that will be something that I'm still trying to process and verbalize. To be honest, I've not quite worked this out, but hopefully by the time we get there, I'll have figured out what I'm trying to say. So yeah, as I said recently, I'm working through this in real time. I don't quite know where I land with all of this yet. Essentially, what I'm going to do is present the incomplete notes I started working on last year. So as we go through this, feel free to get into the comments and make it a collaborative effort. I would value your insights and wisdom as we go through the next few videos. I should also say before we get started though, that the pacifist versus just war debate has been happening within Christianity since at least the 4th century, and it's still going on today. So it's unlikely that we're going to settle this once and for all time here over the next few videos. However, hopefully it will still be beneficial to at least consider the topic, especially if you've not considered it before, as we look at the various angles and arguments. Okay, that's enough preamble. Let's get started on this in the next video.